Okay, very good morning to Halima, Tam, Afi, Farhan, and Jin. Today we'll be discussing about how a study has shown that graduates from public universities experience higher rates of unemployment. So we are here to discuss why. Why graduates from public universities experience these things? When they are actually from a higher level of education, they receive higher level of education, but they are still unemployed. And based on the study, public universities are having higher rate. So, to begin, I will start on the first point of what I think may be the cause or the reason why graduates from public universities are experiencing higher rates of unemployment. For me, all this is happening because of the English language competency. Even though some people are having the education at universities, but their competency are still low. Nowadays, most jobs that higher level or better jobs nowadays require a higher level of English competency. Even though we are from the university, taking our education from the university, but if you cannot speak in English or basically speak in English and have a good English competency, most employers won't employ us. Why? For example, if you want to be a doctor, you will work in a public place. In a public place like in a hospital, you won't be serving only your people. For example, if you're Malay, you won't be serving only to Malays. You'll be a doctor to everyone. For example, when an Indian comes and you only know how to speak Malay, you don't know how to speak Indian, and you don't know how to speak English, then how are you supposed to communicate, to know about their problems? So English competency is actually very important if you want to get employed, to have an employment. Doesn't mean you have to be a doctor you don't need, you don't need to be a doctor to have a good, I'll rephrase that. English competency isn't only needed in a higher level job, but also needed in any type of jobs. Even though you're just a salesman, you will also need English competency to communicate, to attract customers. That is one of the points why I believe most graduates nowadays are experiencing higher level of unemployment because of their English competency. People need to learn how to speak English. I think that's all that I can say for now. So, Jean, what do you think about this issue?
For me, I do agree that English language competency is one of the factors contribute to the graduates' environment these days. Because why we have low English language competencies, because the graduates learn English just to pass the examination. Okay, we all know that English is a compulsory subject in primary school and secondary school, and it is a requirement to pass to get a certificate. So here we all know that it is more to a written test instead of a verbal test. So therefore they are lack in practice. Even in English class, they prefer to use their own native language instead of English. And other than that, they have limited opportunities to use English outside the classroom, because the environment around the students does not encourage them to speak English. Why is that? Because we live in a society where they judge people who speak English. And saying that they have forgotten about their own national language to speak English. And I actually they don't know the benefits of speaking English and how it can be useful in the future. And the second point is why there's low English knowledge competency is because they are lack of confidence, which contributes to their attitude actually, because they are unwilling to speak English because they are afraid of being criticized, of using the wrong grammar or the pronunciation is not right. So other than that, English is not everyone's daily language communication. So they feel shy to speak English because they're scared that their colleagues will actually embarrass them. They're using wrong grammar, and so they are less motivated to speak English among themselves. Other than that, they are fear at making grammatical errors when communicating. So without practice, they will face trouble when they go for interview. Okay, for example, if the interviewers see that the resume are really good, they're able to polish the resume really well, and there are a lot of resources that can help the graduates to create a very good resume. But then when they go for interview, they can't speak English, so it's like opposite to the resume. It's like the resume they have perfect English and everything, but then when they speak, it becomes a very awkward situation because once the interviewer starts to ask questions and they can only answer in a simple way, and they can't convince the employers to actually hire them. So this is what I thought about the graduates under Montessori's.
Excuse me, can I have a problem? Can you explain about more the graduate's attitude problem other than the English proficiency?
Graduate attitude.
Attitude, yes, attitude when during the interview. Graduates, can you explain other than attitudes like scared of making wrong pronunciation of English grammar other than their attitude during the interview? Can you explain more about this?
I think after you elaborate more on that.
Okay, so thank you. Actually, I do agree with Jean and Daniel about their point just now about English competency. But for my opinion, the most important thing that the graduates have to look for is their attitude, because the attitude is something essential for everyone, especially when you are attending the interview for getting a job. So the first, what I think is about the interview. Graduates come out from the university with the great or successful result. So for sure, they will have a lot of interviews offered. So, but if the attitude is bad, as example, when they have interview and then they go to the interview not at the correct time. I mean, they're late. So that shows to the interviewer which quality that what they need from their attitude is important, and I think it's because if students or graduates do have a bad attitude, it means show themselves. It means show their identity in the future. If in the interview they cannot do well because of their attitude, like not punctual and also like rude, there's no ethics. So this will give the interviewers the vision what will happen in the future. So on that point, they won't pass the interview. So that's why attitude is important for me. So what's your opinion, Halima?
I agree that attitude contributes to this graduate unemployment because fresh graduates these days they have attitude problem, and this could be because of the way they are raised or because of their peers. Because of attitude, when they get into an interview, they need to present themselves in the very short minutes, like maybe 15 minutes. They need to sell themselves, they need to show to the company why they should be employed. But other than that, and this attitude problem also leads to my point, which is fresh graduates that have unrealistic expectation of salary. Fresh graduates, they have zero working experience, but they expect a very high salary, such as uh, 6,500 salary as the starting salary when they have zero knowledge and skills. Although their qualification from university is important, but what they learn in university is largely academic and with little application in the real world. Although starting salary is important and need to be considered, but they also need to be aware that the first job is for them to learn and get experience. So what do you think, huh?
Okay. From my point of view, graduates suffer from unemployment because of picking job or company selection. Okay, the point of that is fresh graduates, okay, unlike 20 years ago, they have a wide range of choices. Okay. The universities usually they prepare like job interviews for them. Okay, when they have like near graduate, the university will provide jobs interviews for them. So eventually they do not need to go through a process that have to like look on the newspapers, look on the web, or look on Job Street. Okay? Even now Job Street has many jobs. So they have a wide variety of choices. So they tend to be picky. And so tend to be picky in certain kind of jobs. Okay? And companies also. For example, if a fresh graduate want to work in a publisher, he or she makes sure him or herself to work in a big publisher company like Oxford, Fajar, Longman,
Stable company.
Stable, right? And have big incomes. So now they have more choices, so they will make the suitable and most comfortable choice for themselves. Okay, so that leads to picky in job and company selection. Okay, they tend to make the most income and the best choice for them. Right. So that's conclude my point of graduates' attitude among this picky in job and company selection. Thank you. Now pass back to Afi.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Okay, let's actually the point that Tom mentioned just now is correct for me, and I agree. But when we look at our topic, I mean, fresh graduates from public universities experience higher rate of unemployment. So we have to focus why. So just I mentioned just now, the graduates' attitude. Okay, so I would like to add more points because why they are unemployment, because when they have a bad attitude, it means the first thing that the company will see is about our attitude. If you do have the bad attitude, it means how the company in the future. I mean, because of the bad attitude that have been brought by the fresh graduates, they have no experience at all, and that can what's called put bad image for that company. Okay, as example, especially the company that will work with the people. Okay, we'll have a business with people. So if the fresh graduates are as example rude or ethics, as I mentioned just now, this will give a bad image for that company. So that's why, okay, as if I were a interviewer, for sure I will look for the candidates that can give the full commitment to my company, because I need someone that very committed to their job. because company or run a business, something, work in your work career is not just like a simple thing, it's a serious thing. So if the fresh graduates do not have a good attitude, appearance, and so on, I think that's the big reason why they are unemployed. What do you think, Chin?
Okay, but first of all, I would like to answer Tom's question just now. You were asking me about attitude during the interview besides fear of, do not know how to speak English well. So I think manners is very important. I guess some people are very rude and they don't have that common sense. Or they're like, oh, I'm a fresh graduate, you should hire me, and I don't need your validation about my own qualification and everything. And because these little things are actually really important, because sometimes the elderly would look at these little things because they prefer someone who have manners. Yeah. Because even though you have a good communication skills, you're good at your job, but if you don't have manners, you won't go anywhere.
May I add something? I think it is because fresh graduates, they have this feeling of self-entitlement, which they feel like they deserve more because because they have a qualification. But they do not understand that, or they are not aware that without experience and without the right manners, attitude, like Jean and Tam mentioned, it's hard to impress a company and to get hired. I think fresh graduates overlook that it is more important for them to gain experience for the first 5 years of working and to build good profile and excel in the field so that they could get promoted after a few years of working. What do you think, Lynn?
Actually, I really agree with how attitudes affects how graduates are employed right now. Because most of the graduates nowadays, they think of themselves as someone with high education. They are from the university, so they tend to make themselves like, I deserve better.
I don't know if they come from a very good university, they have like a higher level of
So when this happens, when they have the feeling that they are someone great who comes from a great university, it will affect their attitude. Yeah. So it's like when someone a graduate meets an employer who's like, oh, I don't have to speak much. I don't have to be punctual because he has to take. He has to take. I'm good at this. I'm good at this. But he forgets, or he or she forgets, that actually what they learn in the university is not the practical experience. It's more into the theories. So even though you know how these things work. For example, if you know how a laptop works, and you know the theories to fix it, but if you never really fix it before, you will never know the real thing. So theories and practical experience differs. So they tend to forget. And when they feel that because they know much, they deserve much more, their attitude will be affected. They'll feel like, just like I said just now, they'll be rude. Like when he talks to, for example, a graduate from a college, from someone, a college, it's like, oh, this is just a college guy. You just graduated from a college, so I'm better than him. I'm better than him. And then when he went to an interview or something, and then somehow the college student or the college graduate gets employed other than him. And then that's where identity issues starts, and like, hopefully this will change. So should we come in your conclusion? Okay.
Yes. So for the conclusion, I think all of us agree that the most important thing that fresh graduates need to focus is about their attitude, right? So just like Daniel said just now, they think they are from the higher university, higher level, so it means they think they deserve better. That's thinking will lead them to be the rude person, especially in the interview. When the interviewer asks to do something, they just like don't care because they think that they need me, so why do I have to follow them? Just like that. So the conclusion for this task, why the fresh graduates from the public university experience higher rates of unemployment because of the attitude. So,
So that concludes our discussion for today. So we can conclude it. We have concluded that attitude is the most important thing, in the most important aspects, and because of this aspect, many graduates nowadays didn't get employed. They did not get employed, and that's why when graduates from public universities have how do you say a bad attitude, to still it will cause a higher rate of unemployment. So that's the conclusion of our discussion. Thank you very much, everyone.
thank you.